Hello, everybody, and welcome to this member of the month with Fabrizio, who's calling in from Germany. I think I always avoid saying Fabrizio's surname because I'm so scared I'm always going to get it wrong. But Fabrizio, it's great to be with you. Obviously, Fabrizio is not a German name, but anyway, tell us about yourself for those people in the community who don't know you, which I think is a small number. Maybe for those people outside of the community who don't know you, which might also be a small number. But tell us about yourself and a little bit about your background and what led you into the OpenEXO community.
Sure. So background, I can say that my background is pretty schizophrenic in a very good sense. I mean, I started as a degree as biologist in genetics. Obviously, I was in Genoa, a small city in Italy. There were not a lot of money for research, so basically, my future, in a very optimistic way, could be analyzing other people, let's say, secretions for the rest of my life. Let's say it probably is not exactly what I'm looking for. As a hobby, basically, I'm, let's say, working in software, where working, to be 100% honest, means cracking software and selling to my teachers. But it was a very nice way to learn about the basics of IT, starting with assembly and going up into the programming languages. And I have even a very small career in programming for, I think, 3-4 years. But I sold my first software and I decided this is really enough for me. I was pretty lucky, honestly. I entered in W3C, World Wide Web Consortium, for the one who doesn't know. World Wide Web Consortium is basically consortium made by different companies, and they taking care of defining the standards, what we call recommendation. And I was in two main groups: voice activation voice browsing working group and multimodal interaction working group. And this is where I got my first master in human machine interaction, because I found very exciting the idea that we stop creating software that are very complex and then you have to teach people how to use it. On the contrary, you try to create something that is more easy for users to understand and to play with and have better interfaces. I remember in the multimodal working group we talk about an MCV approach, but today is definitely what we are looking for. After that, couple of years for startup, still in Genoa, then I decided, okay, I have enough of Italy. I started working around, consulting different companies, including Microsoft in this voice area, jumping around for a while, Norway, Berlin, spent 3 years in US, where I got another startup way more advanced in with the idea of basically try to reproduce the human behavior. So we call it digital resurrection. We had a couple of projects in the area, bring back to life historical characters, focusing both on knowledge and on we call animus from Latin. So the both the emotional and the, how could I say, the uh, call, yeah, let's say ethical and moral guideline that bring you to take a decision. After that, the second master at MIT for AI for business. And while working on this interesting and crazy proposition, I bring back to life long dead people, I had the opportunity through Singularity University. I worked with them as a chapter leader here in Frankfurt. I had the opportunity to meet a couple of guys that told me about OpenEXO. I didn't know anything at the time. I have to be completely honest. So the first thing I did, but I usually do, is okay. I bought a book and started reading the book. I was super, not only excited, but like enlightened by the book. And so I just, okay, I have to know more. Then I entered the community. I had the opportunity to go through the first certification, I think that 5 years ago, something like that. I'm getting
Crazy,
old.
yeah.
Yeah, very fast. And so that's a short story.
That's awesome. Such an interesting, varied path. I think that makes for the most interesting life, not necessarily sticking to just one area. But as you said, you've been working in the AI space for quite some time, but you've also been involved in EXO for quite some time. So, was there
Yeah.
anything specific with the EXO approach that actually like
Yes.
drew you in? And then maybe the
Yeah.
perspective over the years, right? Because it's been some time.
Oh, sure. That's a very good point. It changed a lot, honestly. I mean, at the beginning, it was more like sounds like the book gave you a kind of tool to understand the opportunity in innovation and disruption in terms of really this is a kind of a path you can follow. And that was just very superficial, honestly talking. I mean, from my point of view, not the book, obviously. I mean, from my point of view, but it was more like, as I say, the enlightenment. And then when I go deeper, and thanks to the community, because I had the opportunity to, and you know that, working with Yaroslav, follow Kendall, streamings, know a lot of people from the community work with us. So I and then go through the certification, the different training and coaching. I understand that was not just a kind of toolbox, but also there was a clear path designed behind it and a clear actionable plan. And that was the most important part for me. I'm a dramatically pragmatical person, guided by data. And so finding something that could stick to this approach, I mean, obviously was great. And the way it changed was honestly that at the beginning it was more like taking as much as I can, reading as much as I can, read more article, connecting with people, and later I shifted to into okay, where are the area where I can really bring something and I can really apply and get back the result, the case history, where I can help other people to entry or support them. That was the big shift. And even the interest now is obviously, I'm very excited about the new AI announcement. I'm very excited about the new opportunity. I see the new working group are shaping um, and facilitating life for the new members. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
changed a lot since the beginning. You did a very great job, and I know still working on that
Yeah,
because
no, no, absolutely. Obviously, growing a global community not always easy, especially when you've got many people who all have different interests and different reasons for being around, etc. But we have, of course, spoken before, and you've spoken about your MTP around democratizing access to knowledge in order to empower everyone's life. Can you share some specific moments or experience that have taken you towards that MTP?
I think, I mean, at least for me, the NTP was born from personal experiences. So when I went through university and the different schools and the meetings I had, I understand that one of the biggest barriers you have to education today is access. I want to say access, this could be simple internet access, we will talk about in a minute, or economical access. As I said before, I was very lucky entering W3C very young. I remember a funny story. When I had my first conference, I was 24. Yeah, and I fly to Lisbon to give my lecture, basically about human-machine interaction with voice. And funny thing, I had a lot of problem entering at the in the stage because people thinking I was just an attendee, a very young attendee, so they didn't believe me at all. So uh, I had a very lot luck moments, and another one was to meet my mentor. That bring me into high level connections with people that can teach you a lot. And from there, I understand that everything you learn in this year, you should give it back to other people. So you should really disrupt this barrier and give it back.
Hmm.
And these are the moments, these conferences, this opportunity, the mentor, and every meeting I have with these people that knows uh, dramatically more than me, but they are always open to teach you
Hmm.
with passion, with a lot of, could I say, empathy. And that was the biggest learning I had.
Hmm. Yeah, and so together with some other community members. You've been working on a project called Knowverse.
Yeah,
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it? Maybe some of the challenges you're facing, the rewarding
sure.
moments, where it's going. It would be great to share that more.
Yeah, so how we started honestly. So if I have to give you a date, it will probably back in time 12 years ago. And everything started in AI working group. We started talking with people and do you have any project? And I told my story about what I presented at TEDx. I presented the opportunity to bring AI into schools, the impressive reaction we got from students. And I met other people with similar experiences. For example, academic that has a 12 year of experience educating young generations in a very low SEC areas in the world. And talking with them, we understood that despite the radical optimism in the community, there are still big issues we are facing today. And that's basically the goal of Knowverse. The goal of Knowverse is like, you should see a Knowverse, not like another platform publishing courses. There's a lot of them. Very great one, by the way. I really love it. There's a lot of free content. But the problem is the access to knowledge. So the idea of Knowverse is like creating a middle layer where anyone, everywhere, despite the connection issue, economical status, background, literacy level, is able to get this knowledge.
Mm.
Obviously, there's a lot of challenges. There's external challenges, and I can give you some numbers about external challenges. Like we have 253 million children out of school. 6 out of 10 children are not reaching the minimum in reading and writing. We need 7 million teachers to provide basic education by 2030. We have 750 million of adults, two-thirds of them are women, but doesn't have a basic literacy, so they don't know how to read and write. And also, that's the most shocking part, where 43% of the population doesn't have access to internet. Despite the fact we cover 95% of the planet, these people doesn't have the opportunity to connect. As this is what we call external challenges. What we learn about challenges are opportunities for us. And plus, there are internal challenges. Obviously, putting together a lot of people from different backgrounds in different time zones, obviously, is pretty hard when you need to organize the call. But I think at the end of the day, we are together because we believe to the purpose. And the purpose is really let then the next 1 billion people will connect to the existing knowledge we have, because we collected knowledge for years. You know that.
Yeah.
And so this probably we had a lot of challenge. We will have more challenges soon, probably, where we'll go deeper into governance. We will go deeper into the. But so far, what I learned from the community is that there's an impressive number of professionals outside that are very happy to help, giving suggestion, put their time on disposition to a project that resonate for them. And this is what's happening now. So now it's like 5-6 months we're talking. We are moving forward. We are now presenting the idea to investors. We are finishing the MVP. We have a lot of documentation available. We recorded the video. We kept the team together. We have a small working group on education where we'll invite people to talk about the problem they have and see if maybe someone has different solution they would like to bring on board. So this is where we are, and I think it's impressive to see the response, because it's people you never met before.
Absolutely. And so when it comes to the education space, I mean, obviously integrating AI is going to happen, and going to happen a lot faster, and needs to happen. What are some of the most exciting developments that you've seen or you're involved in terms of that AI transformation of education?
Yes. So there's a lot of development. Obviously, when you talk about AI, people immediately think about generative AI.
Yeah.
And it's somehow good, somehow bad. It depends on obviously how you see that. Obviously, generative AI will give you the opportunity now to tailor the presentation layer and the content one to one to people. The missing part is still the ability to understand what Kevin needs or what Fabrizio needs. And that's where generative AI probably is not yet enough. And this is also a very good opportunity because now you can start thinking about, okay, how we can create something that is capable to understand what the really user need and what's the best way to teach him about it. I think the biggest revolution we are seeing today, from my point of view, is that up to probably 3 years ago, in theory, we see that if we can divide the knowledge from the pedagogy and the media, we solved obviously the issues because we can recombine around your needs or my needs. And now we see that this approach is possible thanks, for example, to generative AI. We can recombine three different, how could I call it, ingredients that will bring you education. But on the other side, as I say, there's still a lot to do in the capability of understanding the user needs. That's what we call, for example, artificial empathy. It's a completely new and exciting area. As you know from the name, it's coming from robots, it's coming from Hazada, this big, amazing guy who wrote everything about empathy, mimic crying, etc., etc. But we are moving so fast that probably it's a problem we will solve in 1 year or less.
Although, I mean, we often do speak of the immune system of different areas. And I mean, within education, do you see the incumbents actually interested in embracing this, or is there quite a lot of resistance?
I can tell you all your own personal experiences, obviously.
Yeah.
When we launched the first, we did a lot of pilots, honestly.
Mm.
And so, for example, Agni pilot over 100,000 of students. I pilot on 300. So it's not compatible, not comparable, but interesting. What we saw is obviously there's two types of teachers because we always talk with teachers. We are not thinking about replacing teachers, but we are thinking about augmenting teachers
Yeah.
and students. And so obviously you have two type of teachers. One teacher that sees that as an opportunity because understand the impact you can give on the student, and especially the student that sometimes doesn't have the opportunity to reach the school. It's too
Yeah.
far. They don't have enough people. Classrooms are too crowded, etc., etc. There's a tons of problem. And on the other side, obviously, you will see teachers while thinking that somehow you are trying to, how could I say, diminish the importance of the teacher.
Mm.
And that's a very interesting because from my point of view, the problem is not technology. Even if I'm a tech guy, definitely, I think technology is usually the last elements you have to bring in a conversation before there's a cultural issue or a cultural, as you mentioned, I mean, when you talk about immune systems, it's more cultural than technology. They don't have anything against the technology, but they try to react because they are trying to change in the culture.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the education, the culture in education is that we need to, first of all, start thinking about changing the relationship between um, the teacher and the pupil. So if you're thinking about AI, if you're thinking about customizing, tailoring one-to-one, it means that the pupil will be somehow responsible for choosing the path,
Mm.
choosing his goal, and even choosing the way and the fast and how fast sorry, he can consume education. But at the same time, we recognize that the current score system in school is not working very well to say, hey, Kevin, you are great in math, but I mean, Latin is not for you. I mean, that's probably not the goal because Kevin maybe doesn't want to be a Latinist.
Yeah.
So again, the problem I think we need to change a bit the culture and disrupt these mechanics where the teacher is the only one who can decide what will be the knowledge, when to deliver the knowledge, the fast um, and we should deliver, and we will pass the power to the student that should reach a certain goal. and keep the teacher from content expert to pedagogy expert. I see them more as a coaches in the future than as a dispenser of knowledge.
Okay, yes.
That's the biggest immune system probably
No,
we can find today. But we are going there.
yeah. And Fabrizio, would you say that your varied background coming from biology, genetics, human machine interactions, AI, has that whole diversity actually shaped the way that you actually approach innovation or problem solving?
Yeah, I think it's honestly talking. I don't think we are inventing anything. I mean, I think we are digesting what we studies, learning, and we are digesting apply to new problems. And I think you mentioned this, sure, in the bio, the experiences, but also I had the luck to be, let's say, to grow in a family full of curiosity. My mother was an art teacher. My father was an entrepreneur, and so my mother taught me about you can look at the same thing from different angles and have a completely different perspective. While my father was like, "Hey, have you ever think about why the fridge is working in this way?" And I think so. We are the result of what we studied before. So if you ask me, what will be the best suggestion you can give to someone? I mean, be curious about everything. Try to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And it doesn't matter it's science or you would like to be the biggest and the most important chef in the world. At the end of the day, chef is chemistry. So probably we are really the sum of our experiences, and we are re-elaborate them through new challenges.
Yeah, and so would you say being a part of the OpenEXO community, for those people who are new here, what would you actually advise them? I mean, other than be curious, maybe that is
No,
exactly what
I
you would
advise
say.
them to yeah, I advise them to connect because for especially I'm talking about me. I have my personal vision, but it's based on data. I'm not very empathetical in general in terms of so I'm looking at result, data, numbers, and okay, that's my goal, and a very scientific approach. And I had the pleasure to talk, meet, and even sometimes argue in a very positive way with different people from different angles. They definitely know more than me in different areas. And that is where you can learn and you can grow. You can grow personally, but also you can grow professionally because through this connection, for example, through a connection I had in the EXO Sprint, we now have a new company working with one of the guy I met in the EXO Sprint, and we have two completely different backgrounds. He is a business guy with a CEO in a big company, blah blah blah, completely different background, and I have my tech background. So every time we talk, at the beginning especially, obviously we had a lot of contrast because my problem was like to solve the issue and his problem was okay, what will be the benefit for the company. And so in the last probably year I grew a lot to get out of my bunker, let's say, and have a better vision. And so I have a new tools when I talk it with my client where I can help you in a different broader vision
Yes.
of the problem. So what I suggest to the people is really, if there's something you don't know, and I'm not sure there's something, I mean, you can't know anything, come on. Connect with people, let them help you, because, I mean, it's an opportunity for everyone. So especially in the weekly call through OpenEXO, in the work groups, there's a lot of people happy to connect and help, to find synergies, and even try to understand what will be the different area where people could help or receive help.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for people who are interested in what you're doing, how should they, get involved and connect, whether it's on the AI front or whether it's on the education side?
The first point of contact, I think, now is the Discord community. I think, I mean, and it's very nice because while the website, except the feed, I will talk about feed in a minute. The website today is, let me say, is very corporate oriented in terms of communication. I don't know if you agree on that, but it's very, let's say, as a very clear target. And then you have the Discord community that even if somehow is a bit chaotic, if you never enter in Discord, a lot of channel, but once you start orienting yourself, you will see the opportunity to connect. So again, my suggestion is start with connecting. Go to Discord, post what you need, what you're looking for, and I'm sure Kevin and other people will jump in to help you orienting. And then in the middle, there's the feed. That honestly, at the beginning, I didn't care a lot. I have to confess. But now that I see that it's getting better and better and better, at least for me, so I start learning what I would like to see maybe, and then it's getting the point of contact between the authors and the corporate area. So I see that as a bridge.
And before we end off, I also want to just say that you've been contributing a whole lot more to EXO Insights as well. A number of extremely interesting articles that you're writing, probably together with some sort of AI, hopefully, because we should all augment ourselves. It's really fantastic to see. I know so many of them are actually doing really well. We've had certain articles that have just been standouts, and I think yours went to #1 last week, which was awesome to see. So congrats with that, and thank you so much for everything that you have done and are doing within the community. You know, I always like to end these by asking that question around the one thing that you want people to take away. If it's only one thing from this conversation, what would it be?
Yeah, it will be, even if you're not so sure about what you can bring to the community, and you are, as me at the beginning, kind of explorative, secretive area, you don't want to connect, spend a bit of time in the weekly meeting, because I think that's the first step. And since you're done the first step, you will see that a lot of people that, as I say before, they are very welcoming. And from there, you can start growing.
Awesome. Fabrizio, it's always wonderful to connect with you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll see you around for sure.
Sure.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this, click the thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like it. Take a look at our Member of the Month playlist here.